We're up, we're up, we're up, we're up.
Karmelo, do you have anything that you'd like to say? Do you have anything that you'd like to say to the victim, to the family of the victim? Why were you armed, sweetheart? Karmelo, why were you armed at school? Explain your self-defense. How is this self-defense?
Excuse me.
Karmelo, would you like to say?
I want to say rest in peace to Austin Metcalf. Karmelo Anthony was probably better off in jail because people want justice for what he did to Austin Metcalf, and Karmelo being in jail is at least some justice, but him being free is no justice at all. And if they can't get to him, there's a possibility there's going to be some innocent black people that's going to lose their lives for what he did. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm not trying to lose my life for this punk.
The past hour, 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony has been released from the Collin County Jail after posting bond. A judge reduced his bond this morning from $1 million to $250,000. He's facing a murder charge after police say he stabbed another teenager, Austin Metcalf, while at a track meet at a Frisco high school. Stephen Dial is in McKinney with more. Stephen.
Karmelo Anthony left the Collin County Jail in a suit but had nothing to say to the reporters before he got into that vehicle. The district court judge says that she looked at all the factors in this case, him not having a criminal history, and that led to her making her decision to reduce his bond. 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony was silent after bonding out of the Collin County Jail and being placed on house arrest.
How is this self-defense?
2 days after the family of Austin Metcalf buried their son, they were at the Collin County Courthouse for a bond reduction hearing Monday. Karmelo Anthony is accused of stabbing and killing Metcalf at a Frisco track meet earlier this month.
200 years ago, the news about what happened in this situation probably would have spread about a month after the lynching. Nowadays, we get the news instantly, but have to wait months and sometimes years for justice to be served. White lives matter too. Austin Metcalf didn't deserve none of this. He probably deserved to get his ass kicked if he put hands on Karmelo like how they're reporting. But murder at a track meet is beyond ridiculous. I could see if they was at a bar or a dark alley in Sin City.
The case has quickly become national news, drawing a lot of attention, resulting in threats and increased security at the courthouse.
Threats and, talk of race war and all kinds of insanity isn't good for, obviously, the Anthony family. It's not good for the Metcalf family.
Cameras were not allowed inside the courtroom, but we did capture the Anthony family arriving. His father, Andrew, testified in the hearing. District Court Judge Angela Tucker said that she's never gotten this volume of calls and had to have this level of security in the courtroom in her 13 years on the bench. Court documents say Anthony stabbed Metcalf during a fight. When an officer arrived, court documents say Anthony told the officer, "I was protecting myself."
They're going to have to stop making these black horror films because it's planting ideas in niggas' heads. These movies and shows got people thinking that you can get away with murder as long as you have a good alibi. And when he get out of jail, he gonna do it again and again. He trying to be the black Jason Voorhees. I promise you, young black males need better role models. These kids listen to drill rap, and when they turn that off, they put on the horror movie, and then they go out into society with that crazy look in their eye. They need to give Austin Metcalf justice right now and quit playing these games. They're making it hot for your average black person that would never ever do what he did. It's looking like we're going to have to suffer as a whole because we got one bad apple in our bunch. I know he's only 17 years old and you do have the right to defend yourself, but him and his family is better off moving to the Wish a Nigga Woods. And when they get there, they need to put an electric barbed wire fence around their house.
Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis spoke after the hearing.
The judge has made the call, and so what's important is what's next. And it's our job to be level-headed, to be fact-based, and to follow the truth wherever it leads.
Anthony's father testified he's taking a leave from work because of the incident, and his wife is a stay-at-home mother with 3 other children.
His father took time off of work so he could be standing at the window like Malcolm X to protect his family because his son is a 21 Savage fan that took Issa knife and put it in the middle of Austin Metcalf's chest?
During the hearing, the prosecution brought up the fact that more than $400,000 have been raised for the Anthony family, saying a reduction is not needed because they have the funds. A big question in this case will be, why did Anthony bring a weapon to a high school stadium? It's a question that was asked of his attorney.
That's an understandable question, but it's not something that, frankly, we're prepared to even go into.
Now, in the opening statement to the media from that interview that you just heard, he led with talking about self-defense. Again, the court documents mention self-defense. We'll have to wait and see how that defense will be made in court when things pan out. Now, according to the judge, the terms of the bond are house arrest and ankle monitor. She told him to stay off social media, and he has to personally call her bailiff every Friday morning, not his parents, but him. And there's a list of other things that is set, and if he violates that, he'll return to the Collin County Jail.
All right, Stephen Dial, live for us. Thank you, Stephen.
And for everybody out there saying that he had a right to defend himself, ask yourself this question. Would you bring a knife to church? Would you stab somebody sitting in the front row of your church because you felt like that's where you should be seated? I could see if they was at Summer Jam or Rolling Loud. I could see if they was in jail and he shanked somebody up real quick. Not at a stadium where it's old people, kids, people that came from out of town to see their grandkids, people making excuses online for this man. But if it was the other way around and he got stabbed by some white kid, it'd be another Black Lives Matter George Floyd situation. All I'm trying to say is I'm not trying to lose my life for no Karmelo Anthony. It's already hard for a brother. He just made it about 10 times harder.
And we begin tonight with a major update on the deadly stabbing at a high school track meet.
Karmelo Anthony is charged with killing Austin Metcalf on April 2nd in Frisco, and he just walked out of jail 90 minutes ago after a judge reduced his bond.
Jobin Puniker live at the courthouse tonight with a look at where this case stands tonight. Jobin?
This case has been, different from the start, and there's so many other words we could use: unexpected, polarizing, volatile. Today there was a packed courtroom for a bond hearing. And just now we're hearing from Collin County, we're hearing of a social media post that appears to dox a sitting judge. That is a crime. And of course, none of this is normal. And sadly, it has set the tone for this case and possible trial.
6 hours after a judge lowered Karmelo Anthony's bond, he walked out of jail in a suit, headed straight home into house arrest. The end to a long day that started with a not-so-typical bond hearing with extra security, 2 metal detectors, and a packed courtroom. No cameras were allowed inside. Anthony, who is 17 years old, is charged with murder in the death of Austin Metcalf. Metcalf died after he was stabbed at a track meet in Frisco.
This is a tragedy all the way around.
Mike Howard is the new defense attorney for the family. The defense wasted no time making a case for self-defense. Anthony's father testified saying his son is a straight-A student, a football and track captain with a network of supportive family and friends.
There's 2 sides to every story, and we've only heard one side.
The family sat on opposite ends. Anthony was in a yellow jumpsuit. He was mostly stoic with one-word answers to the judge. The judge says her decision to lower the bond from $1 million to $250,000 was based on factors like age, his ties to the community, no prior criminal history, even his U.S. citizenship.
When have they ever been sincere towards a young black male, especially for killing a young Caucasian male? This situation is going to change all different types of laws. These young boys is about to make a killing this summer. So they're trying to convince us a crime is not a crime due to the age, race, and gender and your grades. You could bring your report card to the court and show them that you got straight A's and you can get away with murder.
What we're concerned about as prosecutors is justice, truth, and accountability. And so we will go where the facts lead us.
The DA, Greg Willis, says his office does not have the case from Frisco police yet. Willis has already made it clear he wants this case to stay in Collin County.
This has definitely rocked our entire community. It has struck a nerve.
Both sides may differ on what justice looks like here. but they agree all the noise surrounding this case has grown to deafening proportions.
Threats and talk of race war and all kinds of insanity isn't good for, obviously, the Anthony family. It's not good for the Metcalf family. It's not good for the peace and safety of our community. I would ask, and I know both sides would ask, that the temperature on this be allowed to come down.
If they really wanted the temperature to come down, they would have left him in jail for a long time. Remember when that dude shot up that church in South Carolina and they said they took him to Burger King before they took him to jail? Nobody heard anything about that since. Is he still in jail? Did they relocate him to Berlin? Is he in Amsterdam right now? I'm wondering, are they doing this to excite the masses so it could be an all-out race war?
The next step will be whether a grand jury decides to indict Anthony on this charge. That could take several months. In McKinney, I'm Jobin Puniker.
We asked Frisco ISD if Anthony could attend school while on house arrest. The district would not comment on Anthony's case, but explained overall district policy. Students charged with a felony will have their case reviewed by the district. If the decision is made to expel the student, they can appeal at a special meeting. The district ultimately makes the final decision whether the student stays in school.
It sounded like they're going to let him finish school. What is he going to major in? Murder? Is he going to use that knife for his pen and use that man's blood for his ink so he can do all of his tests or whatnot? Murder is murder. A crime is a crime.
Judge.
Can you come this way?
Good morning, everybody. There's not much I can say, but the judge.
Can you come this way?
Sure.
Okay, that's fine, right there.
All right, there's not much I can say. The judge has made the call, and so what's important is what's next. Frisco PD will be finishing up their investigation. They will submit the case to my office. We will review it and ultimately present it to a grand jury. And so that's what's next. That's really much. Pretty much all I can say right now. We do our speaking in as far as the facts go in the courtroom. Many of you were in there, so you understand what was said. But this is a terrible tragedy for our entire, not just Frisco, but Collin County community. One family has suffered a permanent loss. It's the most unnatural thing for a parent to lose their child. It's permanent. It's profound, it's certainly premature, and it's the hardest thing that I think a human being can go through is to lose their child. The Anthony family has had a different kind of loss, but a loss nonetheless. But the judge has made her call, and we look forward to continuing the process and looking forward to reviewing all the facts of the case that Frisco PD is coming up with and present it to a grand jury. What we're concerned about as prosecutors is justice, truth, and accountability. And so we will go where the facts lead us. Thank you so much.
Could you speak about the security and the vitriol and just the safety even for the judge and your officer?
Well, this has definitely rocked our entire community. And so it has struck a nerve in the community, and it's hard for everybody to be level-headed at a time like this. So that's where we come in. It's our job to be level-headed, to be fact-based, and to follow the truth wherever it leads. Thank you so much.
And what is your name? Thank you.
Yeah, that's the attorney. The attorney to the right. Attorney to the right.
We can't do this in here.
It's 5 more seconds. Sorry. 5 more seconds? Okay. Good? Everybody good?
Every Texan has the right to defend themselves when they reasonably fear for their life. Self-defense is a protection that applies to each and every one of us. there are two sides to every story. And Karmelo is a 17-year-old kid and an excellent student. He is the captain of his track team. He is the captain of his football team. And prior to this, what was on his mind was what college he was going to go to. This is a tragedy all the way around for both families. Rushing to judgment, trial by public perception and trial by media is not how we ensure justice is done. We are confident that after a full investigation, that the truth will come out. Thank you.
Mike, you took umbrage with the state's assessment that this was simple and brutal. Why so?
Well, the fact of the matter is, like I said, there's two sides to every story, and we've only heard one side. In any criminal case, the police investigate, and the defense is always far behind that. And so it is a one-sided investigation to this point, and even that investigation is still ongoing. So to say that it happened this way or that way is just not accurate at this point. All of the facts are going to come out, and that's why our system of justice requires that we keep our minds open and we let the facts come out as they are after a full investigation.
Is your client going to be able to make bond and get out today?
I anticipate that he will be able to make bond. I can't speak to how quickly that will go. Funds, in the funds that have been raised are not quick to come out. And then, there's obviously a process to the release process once bond is posted.
The big question that a lot of people have is, why was this young man armed on school property?
That's an understandable question, but it's not something that, frankly, we're prepared to even go into. This is something that I know the police and the prosecution want to get it right and want to have a full and fair investigation, and so do we. So it would be irresponsible for me or them at this point to start saying, this is what happened, this is why, anything. So I understand that's a big question. It's going to be a big question, and it's something that we will find out, and we ask that the public, as hard as it is, withhold judgment and let both of these families have justice, that let both of these young men, the Metcalf family and the memory of who they've lost, but also Karmelo, have a fair and full justice process.
Ultimately, you're feeling on the reduction of this bond, you feel it's fair?
I feel it's fair. Bond, as the judge said, is not supposed to be an instrument of oppression. It's not supposed to keep people in jail. It's not supposed to punish. It's supposed to ensure that a person shows up to court, complies with all conditions, and it's supposed to keep the community safe. So this is a large and substantial bond, and the judge has, I think, rightly imposed reasonable conditions that will ensure both Karmelo and the Anthony family's safety, but also the safety of the community.
What was Karmelo's reaction today? He didn't seem very talkative toward you. And how has jail, I guess, been so far for this teenager? And is he on suicide watch or anything like that?
I honestly can't speak to Karmelo's reaction because I was so focused on the hearing and what was going on and what the judge was saying. I think we have to all remember Karmelo is a 17-year-old kid who's never been in any sort of trouble before. If you can just put yourself in his shoes, this is a scary, bewildering process, and I can't even imagine what was going through his head, just as I'm sure I can't imagine what was going through the heads of the Metcalf family. So this is something that is new to all of them and incredibly trying.
So for people who want to know, why were you selected? I mean, what is your experience? I mean, you had to be really good.
I can't speak as to why I was selected. In any case, it's important to have an attorney that you connect with, that you feel has the right amount of experience and the right investment in the case. And I'm not speaking to anybody else. I just know that that's important in any case.
Just how unsafe does his family feel? You mentioned it multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to speak for them at this point, but I think you can imagine the press coverage on this case has been immense, and the online and public reaction has been immense. And unfortunately, as is common in our culture, especially lately, the vitriol and the public reaction one way or the other has been intense, and threats and talk of race war and all kinds of insanity isn't good for, obviously, the Anthony family. It's not good for the Metcalf family. It's not good for the peace and safety of our community. So, I would ask, and I know both sides would ask, that the temperature on this be allowed to come down, that the media, you guys have a job to do, and I understand that everyone does, but at the same time, we just ask everyone in the public and everywhere to let this process play out fairly and fully for both sides. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Y'all got to let me know how y'all feel about this in the comment section. Me, I feel like he was better off in jail. He probably would have had more protection in jail. They wouldn't have been able to get to him when you got a million brothers willing to hold him down. He would have been the man behind bars. People would have been looking out for him left and right. They would have celebrated him. They would have treated him like Malcolm X in jail. But out on the streets, it's a whole nother ball game. He got eyes on him. They talking about him finishing school. Is he going to get a part-time job this summer? How he going to sustain himself? Is he going to be able to go party? What is he going to be able to do? He got one of the most famous names in America. His name is Karmelo Anthony. It's not safe for him nowhere. And for the real Karmelo, you need to tell his family or pay his family to change his name. So what? They spell it with a K. What the K stand for? Killer? I just know that he's a bad look. There's plenty of bad looks for black males out there, and he just so happened to be one of them. He's only 17 years old, but he's a gremlin. He's a monster. He's a certified killer. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. I'm done talking about it because I know it's a sensitive subject. I want to say rest in peace to Austin Metcalf. People forget all about Austin. They like he's gone. There's nothing to talk about there. Karmelo's still alive. He's in the news. He got cameras following him, reporters. Austin is buried. His family is mourning. Don't nobody want to hear their side of the story. It's all about Karmelo. He's a superstar in the situation. It's looking like within my community, the more grimier you are, the more love and support you're going to get. His GoFundMe is lit right now. He's going to be door dashing, Uber eating. He's going to be living the life at home. They better put a barricade around his house or whatever. I don't know what else to say about it. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. I love y'all to death. Leave them comments in the comment section below. I'm going to holler at y'all on my next video.